So this is my no fluff, no bullshit review of the Sony A7C.
Put my head down, shuffle my feet. You'll never get the best of me. Your sticks and your stones are what I used to build a home. And I may have sleepless nights, but I enjoy the moonlight. I collided with the earth and met my maker in the eyes. I should have turned away, but I stayed. I collided with the earth and met my maker in the eyes. I should have turned to go, but my love trembles, trembles.
Oh, shooting wide is kind of special. Look at this view. I wanted to hop on here and start wide to just show you this camera, give you more of an overview of it. But yeah, the wide look it's unique for sure. Anyway, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to hop on here to give you my formal thoughts on the Sony A7C. This is my daily driver. This is my favorite camera. Spoiler alert, yeah, this is my favorite camera. And I'm gonna get into you kind of about my user experience, why I like it, and why it's been good to me. But before we do that, let's talk about just my evolution, the Sony camera systems. I started on the Sony A7 III. That was my first camera and I loved it. It was my baby. It was my first Sony full frame camera. I really learned to dig in on how to use it and learn more about it and refine my craft and create some really nice images. At some point, I went to the Sony A7 III plus the Sony A6400 as my B camera, as my backup camera, which is a crop sensor. It's a great camera, but I found myself using the Sony A6400 more often than I would use the Sony A7 III because it was small and the images I was getting out of it were like so good. I really wasn't to go full frame, I could get a little better low light and stuff like that. The Sony A6400 really crushed it. Plus it had the flip up screen and it was just a great like little vlog camera, something light and quick. And just a quick background about me, I like having the camera with me when I go places. I like going out and doing things. I like hiking, adventuring, being outdoors, biking, getting outside, finding views, finding different vistas. Having something smaller and lighter is really beneficial to me and my lifestyle. I eventually bought the Sony A7S III because of all the hype. I was so excited to get it and I wanted a filmmaker first camera, something I could continue to push my images with. And I was willing to kind of bite the bullet and spend the money to get the Sony A7S III. At some point, I had to make a decision what was going to be my B camera, and I thought it was going to be the Sony A7 III, but it wasn't. It was just too big, too bulky. I don't need two big, bulky cameras. I need something that's lighter and faster, and in the evolution of Sony, they came out with the A7C. And I looked at that, saw the specs, and knew that it was going to be awesome. But I really didn't know how awesome it was going to be. There were actually some added features that really helped me a lot, and we'll talk about that. I ordered it because it was the Sony A7 III in a smaller version body. You can see the grip and size of this. It's small, my hands are big, and it's got the flip out screen, which is awesome for vlogging and framing yourself up. And if you're doing self-filming, having that flip out screen is really, really nice. I don't want to bring a monitor with me for the same reason that you may not want to if you go out and do stuff a lot. Like, it's just more gear that you need. And to have the flippy screen, to be able to just go so nice. Today I'm going to give you the meat and potatoes of why I have found the Sony A7C to be my favorite camera. If you go on YouTube, all over YouTube, there are amazing reviews, camera reviews all over the place. Some of them are going to talk tech specs, some of them are going to talk user experience. I think there are much better people to explain the tech specs to you. You have Gerald Undone, you have the camera people that will explain tech specs. I just want to give you my user experience and how I use the camera and why I like this so much. Let's start with why I originally bought this. I bought it for the size. I found the size to be super convenient. Like, I can strap this to my backpack right here on my little Peak Design clip and I can just go mob all over. And I never feel like it's in the way. It's just small, compact, and tidy. And also when you go out in public places, for me, I never like having like a big rig. I just don't. I don't like having the big rig with the long lens. You just look more like a photographer and it attracts attention, and that's probably my personality as much as anything. But I like having something small so I can be kind of discreet. I do like the silver color that comes in black as well, but you got to figure out what color is good for you. Okay, so I said I like the size, and I also really like the image. I can't say that I'm getting a major image upgrade because I came from the Sony A7C, A7 III world, and I'm getting a very similar image, but I've always been happy with the image, so I can't complain. One thing that I think is super cool is I now have 3 custom dials on the top, where in the past I only had 2, and I would set it up as 24, 120. So now I can go 24, 120, 60, and I have all of my custom dials, bing, bing, bing. So I can just roll and move and be quick and be agile. And I like that. I've done another video about the things that I didn't like about this camera. I'll summarize that and you can watch that video. I'll link it below if you want. But here's the few things I don't like about this camera, or I think that are less than ideal. So it's a smaller profile. So you're getting a trimmed down version. You can only fit 1 SD card. I liked being able to have 2. I like the comfort of knowing I had 2, especially if I was out on a long trip, but I never actually run out of 1. I guess that would be a downside, having only 1 SD card. Of all the sounds that they make when they fire off a photo, this one is the least pleasing. It's not that bad, but I really like the sound of the Sony A7S III. I like the sound of the Sony A7 III. I like the sound of the Sony A6400, and it's just a little bit different. And then if I had one gripe, it's that the handle is not that beefy. It's not that beefy. I like the feeling of a little beefier handle. If it was my design, I would move that handle out just a little bit further. It's just a small nuance. I'm still using the cameras. I'm not gonna complain about it that much. Hey, if I was designing it, that's something I would do. Okay, so if you're watching this video, some of you might be wondering, should I go full frame or should I go crop sensor in the Sony world? Like I said, I shot on the A6400 for a long time, and the crop sensor took me a really long way. And honestly, if your budget doesn't allow for a full frame sensor, you can go to a crop sensor and not feel like you're losing out on image quality by much. You just have to understand that you're getting a few advantages if you go full frame. And honestly, these advantages are they're situationally dependent, because some of the best cameras in the world, like your Aris and your Reds, those are crop sensors as well. They're slightly smaller and they create beautiful, beautiful images. But where a full frame really shines is you can let more light in that sensor. Low light performance, astrophotography, just situations where you don't have a lot of light. And most filmmakers will say, light your scene. And I agree with that. But you know, if you're on the move and you want better low light performance, it makes more sense to have a full frame camera. Well, you guys, I just wanted to hop on here today to talk more about this, because if I was buying it, these are things I would have wanted to know. The main 3 things I like about it are the image, the autofocus, the size, and the flippy screen. Those things are all amazing. Sony's done a wonderful job with their line of cameras. And if you're getting started, I think you can just get started and figure out it as you go. But for my style, I'm on the move. I want something light. I want a reliable B camera that I can trust, that looks good, and something I can clip on my backpack and just go move around and use. I'm a true hybrid shooter, so I like shooting photography as well as cinematography, videography, and trying to push my image as far as possible. This camera shoots most of my photos, and I'll put my Instagram grid up here. I don't want this to be about photography today, but just know that this is a great photo camera as well. I shoot most of my photography with this. Just to get this thing wrapped up today, I want you to remember one thing. This is just my opinion. This is my user experience. This is how I use the camera. You got to figure out what shoots best and works best for you. But for my needs, I'm really happy with this. This camera gets a lot of use and a lot of love, and I've got a lot of love for it being in my pack. It's small, it's powerful, it's a great tool to help create images and video and just help develop my story. I want to thank you all for hanging out. I've done the review, I've talked about my settings, I've talked about the things I don't like. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this style of video, and I will catch y'all back here for the next one.
'Cause there's no turning back now. Put my head down, shuffle my feet. You'll never get the best of me. Your sticks and your stones are what I used to build a home. And I may have sleepless nights, but